Hey, everybody, welcome to the witching hour. Yep, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I've got some beautiful Brian. I have some beautiful Brian. Okay, I have some beautiful Brian Cano for you today, paranormal researcher. You probably know him from television, from Sci-Fi's Haunted Collector, or Paranormal Caught on Camera, or conventions and things and events worldwide. So I have a little Brian for you. Welcome, Brian Cano. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Patty. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yay! Yes, we see each other throughout the year, often at events. I don't think we've ever done a specific investigation or anything together all at the same time, but I've known you for years now, so really great to have you. Um, so you started this. I like to go into origin stories a little bit. So you've been doing this for a long time, for
I
like
have.
20 years or something. And didn't you start on like cable television or something?
Yes, back in 2002, my friends and I started a cable access show here in Staten Island, New York called Scared on Staten Island. And it was very much a shaky cam, nearly unwatchable urban exploration paranormal show. And you have to remember, 2002 is before Ghost Hunters, before Ghost Adventures. There was nothing to mimic, there was nothing to hold up and say, hey, we should try to do it like this. We just figured, okay, there's a lot of abandoned places in Staten Island. And if they're as haunted as everyone is telling us they are, we should be able to go in with cameras, our wits, our five senses, and document something. Now, again, because I was raised on shows like In Search of with Leonard Nimoy and things like that, I always had a fascination with dark places, abandoned places, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it. And at the time, however, I was very much a skeptic.
Mhm.
Capital S, underline, italic, bold, skeptic. Oh, you saw a ghost? Sure you did. I'm going to get to the bottom of it and find the rational explanation. And that was the beginning.
That's awesome. So how did you ever think that this would turn into, besides a hobby and an experimental start thing, a
I
career?
I had no idea. I mean, if I could go back in time right now and step through a portal like Rick and Morty
Yeah.
and go to my 2002 self and be like, Brian, you're going to travel the world. You're going to see things. You're going to go everywhere. I wouldn't believe it. And I probably wouldn't get along with my 2002 version because we're very different people. I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've experienced so much in this time. And I I never realized that this is something you could do. I mean, I've been blessed with traveling the world, going to different continents for events, speaking engagements, investigations. Been to Australia, the UK, places in between, the Bermuda Triangle, Loch Ness, Oak Islands, Area 51. Again, the little boy who used to watch In Search of was like, "Yes, I'm going to do all these things." But how many really do? And I'm kind of doing it. It's taken me a while, but I'm blessed in that way.
I know that, isn't that awesome? Like the little kid gets to take over and you don't have to work in a cubicle somewhere. Um,
Can't take the
so
cubicle.
no, I can't either. So unless we're locked in a dark dungeon somewhere for like many hours, it's just different than a cubicle. So how are you on the skeptic now? When
I
did
over the years, well, every from that point, from the flashpoint, from the genesis of my entry into the paranormal world, every experience, everything I did was like a grain of sand. So every book I read, every person I talked to, every investigation I went on to, I'm like, oh, this is it. Nope, that's not going to prove it. Oh, here we go. No, this is not going to do it. All these grains of sand I'm expecting to be the one, and I'm dropping them, I'm dropping them, I'm dropping them. And over time, it wasn't one thing, it was a gradual build up and then realization. Over time, all those grains of sand collected at my feet, I looked down, and metaphorically speaking, I was standing on a beach made up of all those experiences, and I had to consider what that meant. So I went from skeptic to skeptical believer I know the phenomenon is out there. I know it exists. It's part of our world. It's part of our universe. It's the people who report it that I'm skeptical of. And that's why I called my book Grains of Sand, Tales of a Paranormal Life, because all those experiences I had were grains of sand that at the time I wasn't ready or willing to accept the lesson that was there for me. But upon reflection, I said, that's what I missed. All right, I've got it now.
So I love that. So tell us a little bit about Grains of Sand. That's just basically your story and
For the longest time, I'd wanted to write a book. And I mean, you and I have been to a lot of events. Our colleagues, our friends, they've got mountains of books. They've got 50 titles. They're book, just cranking them out. I I had the hardest time getting the first one out because I didn't know what to write about. At first, because of Haunted Collector, people are like, "Oh, you should write a tech manual." I said, "Well, who's going to read a tech manual, and who am I to tell anyone how to do things?" And then you think, "Okay, there's a lot of books on haunted locations, haunted places." And I said, "Well, that's their story to tell. Like, who am I to tell someone else's story?" And I had a lot of false starts over the years. I would start writing, I'd stop, I'd start, I'd stop. And one day my manager said to me, "Well, Brian, you've got a lot of stories. I hear you talking to people at conventions, and you have a lot of tales that you tell on stage. Why don't you just tell your story?" And I said, "Well, you know what?" Boom. The light bulb went on, clarity settled over me. And actually also Rosemary Ellen Guiley gave me a good piece of advice. Is that her now?
yeah.
All right.
I hung
Yeah.
up on.
So Rosemary gave me this great piece of advice. She said that all evidence, even anecdotal evidence, is something to consider. And all I had was anecdotal evidence. I couldn't prove anything, but all I had were the tales and the experiences that shaped me. So I'm gonna tell those stories. And that's how Grains of Sand was born.
It's beautiful. I love it. And you really are a researcher over just an investigator. You're not a paranormal, you're a researcher. You add a whole lot more depth than a lot of people in our industry to your work. I've seen it, I've seen you work, I've seen you speak on that. And in speaking, you actually have coined a phrase, you call it paralosophy.
Paralosophy was a cheeky little. I even put the hashtag back when that first was a thing. Hashtag Paralosophy, combining
Yeah.
paranormal with philosophy. And the core philosophy of Paralosophy is think more, do less. And I stole that from carpentry. That's measure twice, cut once.
Right.
And I see people running around 52 weekends out of the year. The black shirts, they go run, run, run. They got to do this, an investigation. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We're doing. But what are you doing? Is it advancing the field? Is it advancing our understanding? What's happening to the evidence? Where are we going with all this? Maybe slow down, think about what you're doing, and let's do it a little more deliberately, a little more carefully, a little more purposefully. And by thinking more and understanding what we're doing, again, there's a lot of people who, uh, through no fault of their own, doesn't make them bad people, but they just imitate the TV shows.
Hmm.
And that's monkey see, monkey do. You're really not doing anything. You're cosplaying the paranormal. I would rather people really take the time, consider, dispense with the jump scares, and come away with something because we haven't advanced at all in 15, 20 years in the paranormal. We have some new gadgets, some new lights, but the general understanding, as I've seen it traveling the world and talking to people, we're no closer to empirically proving it. Now, my role as a scientist in all of this, yeah, it's called the paranormal, but it's not abnormal. To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine in England, the paranormal is normal. We just don't understand it. So I would
Right.
love to compile all this data that people are collecting to try to find some commonalities that will allow us to start locking down some law. And just as humans are the X factor in all of this, you line up 10 people, you ask them one question, you'll get 10 different answers.
Hmm.
I know it's hard in the paranormal. It's very hard to lock down certain things when the human and when spirit is involved. But I feel that with Paralosophy, I had a lot of just kind of catchphrase tenets that I wanted people to consider and understand. And if they at least pause to think of those things and implement it into their own work, then maybe we could all learn together, and a rising tide rises all advances all boats.
I like that. So you don't you're I'm just thinking, wow, have we not advanced? Maybe we haven't. There is no more proof of that. So you don't think this increase of equipment and ghosty things from SLS cameras to whatever, that hasn't gotten us any closer to the proof, or it's just new toys and gadgets?
I have issues with the SLS camera. I have major issues with the Estes method. I have issues with a lot of the way that certain devices are being used. The fact that people are still using K2 meters after all this time, given how sensitive they are to cell phones and other things going on. And again, I used to get a lot more irate about it when I see people doing it. So, and a couple of months ago, I still saw people doing the flashlight method. I thought, I'm like, where am I? Did I step back in time? But you go online, and I'm sure you experience this a lot, Patty. People post on Facebook, people post on Twitter, and they call it the paranormal field. The field. We need to do this in the field. And you know what? We're not a field. I'm a researcher. I'm barely in the field. If we want to talk about field, those are researchers, those are scientists. We are a community. And as such, we encompass a lot of different people with a lot of different goals. And the first question I ask people whenever I meet them and they ask for my advice, I say, well, what's your goal? What are you looking to do? And I've whittled it down to the community is broken up into three categories. And the biggest category is the tourist. And that's not a slight, that's not a slur. We need tourism. We need people to go out and explore and experience those haunted locations we love going to. They need the people to come and stay in their bed and breakfasts, to do their haunted tours, to just understand about the history of that location. Those people will go on a haunted walk. They'll go on maybe a 2 hour ghost hunt. They'll have their scare. They'll go home. It's not really going to change their lives, but they want the experience.
Yeah.
Then you have a smaller group, the paranormal investigator. These are your black shirts. These are your people who, most of the year, every Friday and Saturday night, they're gathering together, they're loading up the car, they're going to this event, they're going to that event, they've got an investigation, maybe they have a podcast. They are, they're kind of just really greasing the wheels. They are the red blood cells of the paranormal. But of all those people, where's the data going? What's happening though? Oh, they had a great time on Friday. Oh, and they went to Gettysburg and they had a lot of scares. But where's the data? How's this advancing any of us? Okay, not a bad thing, but even smaller, probably like 2 to 5% of us were the researchers who are looking to affect change. We're looking to establish norms and reliability in the respect that I ask people, okay, water goes from a liquid to a solid at what temperature? And they say 32 degrees. I'm like, yes, that's repeatable. We know this. We've proven this. If I take if I take that ice cube that we've now made and I go and I throw it out the window, it's going to fall. What's the rate of acceleration? Oh, 9.78 per second squared. Well, yes, because of the size of our planet and gravity, it's going to fall at a constant rate. We know this. We've proven this. And then I throw them with a curveball. And I say, okay, at what concentration of milligauss per square foot indicates a haunting at a location? And you have people kind of looking around and scratching their head. Sometimes they'll make a guess. They're like, 4? But mostly people go, oh, I don't know. And I said, that's the right answer. And I think in the paranormal, we need to embrace both I don't know, because it's a valid answer. I would rather a boring truth than an exciting lie. But we don't have that data yet. And you'd think with all these people running around doing tests and doing stuff and doing science, we would have some answer to that, but we don't. And that's because the majority of the people are just going for that anecdotal experience, like Rosemary said. I guess it's evidence, it's valid, but it's not going to end up in a textbook. And one of these days, I would love to gather enough evidence to say, okay, well, the Cano efficient says, boom, data. and it might not come in my lifetime or the next 5 lifetimes, but I would love to see that discovered.
Or it might, and you, as being one of the leaders of the field that's not a field, could probably be a person to do that because you're Joe Blackshirt. I love that term. The Blackshirt down the street who's going to their haunted, moose club with their little group every week. They don't have that opportunity, but maybe the people who are leaders and known really do. Um, I I like that. I'm still stuck on we really haven't grown, have we? It's like, oh. So how does it
It's
work?
hard,
Like,
right?
yeah, it is hard. Me coming from being talking to dead people since I could talk, being a medium, known for seances and all this. When I came into the paranormal way back when, it was like I would look at the equipment going, oh, even an SLS camera. Because I might go, all right, in the middle of my seance table, um, I see a ghost doing jumping jacks and kicking up their right foot. You believe me or you don't believe me, but now there might be a guy in another room who can't see me or hear me, and I see a little green stick person doing jumping jacks and kicking his right foot. So I mean, there must be something to that, unless the woo woo of the ether is picking up. She's thinking this, and so she's seeing that. But you're right about not any standards. So to me, I am not a techie person because I don't even know how to turn on my 1985 answering machine. But to me, it's somehow that's all got to bring it together. So if if so, how do we do that? How again? Or the few that can say if somebody's going, well, I would like to be more of a researcher than an investigator. What does that mean?
Develop your foundation. It all comes back to education, and I know when you say education, people are like, "Ah, but I wanna be excited." Like, yes, it's not always fun, you always have to start at the first page, you can't get to the end of the movie or the middle of all the action until you start off establishing the basics, and this was the inspiration for me to start my History of the Paranormal mobile exhibit, which I've been touring around from state to state. It's an effort to make learning fun. It's a traveling exhibit where I take people through the importance of belief. And it takes you through the spiritualist movement. It takes you through old school tools, the misconceptions about Ouija boards, cameras, and some of the tools that the old researchers used to use. Talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren, we're talking about Hans Holzer, we're talking about names that don't have TV shows like Emanuel Swedenborg, talking about J.B. Rhine, Louisa Rhine, talking about the Rhine Research Center. All these places that people are like, huh? Who? Talk about the Sidgwicks, who were the presidents. Both the husband and wife were president of the SPR. What's that? The Society for Psychical Research. There's so much information out there that the community doesn't know because if it's not on a TV show, they're not sure that they have to look for it or they wouldn't know where to look. I said, all right, I'm going to bring this to you. I'm going to throw a whole bunch of information at you guys. And through interactive elements and immersive displays, a little bit of fun, I have something that I call the game show at the end. If I get you to have fun while learning, you'll remember this information. And like I said, there's a ton of information in it. But if you leave knowing just one more name, one more concept, and you spread that to your group, you tell a friend. And again, we all rise together because now you have more of that foundation. And for people who are really serious about doing research, sometimes there is that step back that it becomes less exciting because you can rule out certain things as not being paranormal, where normally, okay, the tourists would go, ooh, and jump, and they don't need to look into it because that's what they came to do. They came to have the scare and then go home.
Yeah.
Almost like you go to the movie theater, you watch a movie, you are in that world for 2 hours, but the people who leave, they're not going to now go make a movie, but they'll enjoy it while they're watching it. That's the majority of the community. So, but then some of us, like me, I'll sit in the movie theater and I wonder what camera they used on that. Oh, that's a slider shot. Oh, okay, I see where the edit is. And because I want to be in that world, I want to make my own movie. And some of us can, some of us do. And there's a lot of us. And that's the thing, tourist, researcher, investigator, there's nothing wrong with being in any of those categories. And you can graduate up, you can go down. I used to be an investigator. And sometimes I just like to be a tourist. I don't want to work, but I want to go and experience and have fun. Just know which category you're in, so that, like, say when I'm on a public ghost hunt and I'm getting annoyed at those people over there who don't know how to use their equipment, but then, oh, that's right, they're tourists. They wouldn't know how. So if I understand them better and I understand their goals, I'm not going to waste time getting annoyed about it. I'll just know how to handle them better. And I think and that's just true with the world. If you understand more about the person you're dealing with, you can communicate better.
This is brilliant. So what do you think? So somebody starts, I'm going to study the Warrens, I'm going to study the PS, the research. So what do you think changes more? What if they're now going to a haunted place and now they're thinking more researcher than is it more a change in their actions or in their perception and thought pattern?
I think a little bit of both, because depending on what your goal is, it's the same thing as, say, and I this is an anomaly you may have noticed. Like all the ghost hunters, like the ghost hunter crowd, they're all Disney files. And I'm like, how does that happen? I go to Disney and well, I don't go to Disney, but if I did, I'd be annoyed because it's hot and expensive and it's so crowded. But they're like, oh, it's the most magical place on earth. Same place, different perspectives, different reasons for being there. So I would be a Disney tourist where, friends of mine, they're Disney researchers, they're Disney files, like they love it.
Right. They'll
In the
find every
work,
hidden find every hidden Mickey in the place. Like what?
yeah,
We may be the only two paranormal people who are not overly Disney people, but I know so many
we'll
people
have to
are.
find our own thing.
We'll have to find our own thing. I was one of my crews. It wasn't a paranormal thing, but it was my cast of a show I was doing. We had done a thing at Disney in Los Angeles, and we went to go pay for dinner, and everybody around the table threw out a Disney member card. I'm like, what? Every person at the table, and not they didn't have kids. They weren't. It was just okay. I may be missing something here, but maybe not. I don't know.
It's the new world order. When the aliens come, we know if they're all wearing Mickey hats, we chose the wrong side.
Exactly. Whoops, we chose the right. So you mentioned Johnny Zappis. You've worked with Johnny Zappis a lot on The Haunted Collector, which leads us back to the Warrens. So what do you think? Now we know that that's in the news and everything. The Annabelle doll, the Warrens. My friends Elton Costay and Matt Rife just bought the whole Warren estate and thing. Do you think what all this stuff is helping us, hurting us, or has nothing to do with us?
I think it depends on who you are and who you ask. It's almost like there was very much a sociological and psychological component to 9/11.
Mm,
Now it sounds like, oh man, Brian's bringing it down here.
no.
Um, there is a psychological element that your proximity to downtown Manhattan for 9/11 will determine how you experience either PTSD, the emotion of the day. Now, I'm a Staten Islander. I was on my way to work. I would pass the Twin Towers every day. Sometimes I would get off and go underneath it to catch the train. So my day was very involved with the World Trade Center. But the night before, I had stayed up late working on a project. I got up late. I hit snooze one too many times. And
Mm,
because of that, I was not in Manhattan when it happened and subsequently under a pile of rubble. That may have saved my life. The bridges had closed, but I was on the express bus going into the city when the first plane hit. Now, there are people who were in Manhattan. They were there. You have first responders who were at the place. They're going to experience it differently than I did, who was slightly further away, to people who were in Jersey than people who were, say, in Texas, to people who were in different countries. We all shared it as a human experience, as a tragedy, but your proximity to it almost gives you more. So with the Warrens, with the sale of the house and Annabelle and all those things, it really depends on who you ask, because there's the family, there's the group, there's tons of people who just want to hitch their
right.
wagon to the Warren name. That being said, some of them are actual researchers and are doing the work, and others are just like, ooh, this is quick fame.
Right.
Um, so I mean, It's like anything in life. It's gonna attract all kinds. But what the Conjuring movies did do, back to my history of the paranormal exhibit, the game show at the end, I have portraits of paranormal pioneers, people who've passed, and everybody knows Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're like, "Oh, we know that one." I'm like, "Mm-hmm." If there
Yeah.
wasn't a movie about them, would you know them? So I think there needs to be more of that. So at least if you know those people, you go to the next, you go to the next, you keep adding the knowledge. And I mean, I didn't always know all those names, but I one by one had to learn them. So I think a comedian and other people buying this, it remains to be seen. Uh, it's definitely getting press, so more people are going to hear about it, which I
Yeah.
think is good. I guess it just we'll see what happens from there. I don't
Right.
know him personally, so I laugh at his jokes, but
I
I
know, but though
don't touch Annabelle.
I must say I knew him as a paranormal investigator. I didn't know he was a comedian. I've done
Really?
many paranormal investigation with him in my YouTubers.
Okay.
Overnight with Elton Castay. I've done Cecil Hotel with Matt Rife. He is a serious, we'll say, investigator, but he puts serious into. So it's not just like I'm the hottest comedian this month, I'm going to buy this thing. They put a lot of time into
Well,
it.
see,
We'll
this
see
is
what they
good.
do.
This
But
is a good
I didn't
perspective.
know he was a comedian, except that I knew he was like the funniest paranormal guy I'd ever seen. But I had no, until I was like, what do you mean you have a Netflix special? What? You
See,
know,
this is great because I didn't know. I know him as a comedian. I'm like, what's a comedian doing getting into the paranormal? But you're
oh,
like, hey, I knew him as an investigator and didn't know him as a comedian. So our different perspectives color how we see this event. But just by talking to each other and communicating, now I know. Oh, all right, this guy has
yeah.
has some skin in the game. So cool. No,
Yeah,
this
he
might be
really did.
good.
It's a passion of his. It's a super passion. So again, we see fingers all crossed. So of
Yeah.
all the places, again, you've traveled the world going to haunted places. Do you have a standout one that stands out, whether as a researcher that like, wow, this is different than any others, or as just like, does that make sense?
I'm
Or
bad with favorite questions. When you're like, "Hey, what's
okay,
your favorite food?" or "What's your favorite
I
movie?" or
won't
"Your
ask.
favorite song?" There's so many good ones. Depends on my mood. But if I were to pick a place that again and again, all those questions like, "What's the scariest experience you've had?" or "What's the darkest investigation you ever went to?" or "What's the quirkiest thing that's ever happened
Mhm.
to you on an investigation?" For me, it all comes back to the Grand Midway Hotel in Windber,
Really,
Pennsylvania. Um, it's out there now. It's kind of known in paranormal circles. It's a place you can go to. But when I went there, I think it was in 2008, 2009. This really wasn't on the map yet. There was a few people who knew about it, like Chip Coffey, John Zaffis, Rosemary Ellen Guiley. But the experience I had there, I wrote about it in the book in the chapter called "The Circle of Fire."
mm.
It was the one and only experience I've ever had in these 23 years that involved the demonic.
Oh,
And I don't throw that word around.
neither do
And
I.
I'm fine to have it the one and only time. I do not want to mix with those energies. But since then, I've I've kind of been pulled into the place. I've done creative ventures there. My buddy Chris Mancuso and I, we we were locked inside the Grand Midway for a week for something called writer's jail, where we had
Dang.
to produce a 90-page script, otherwise we would not get released. And we were literally chained to the bed. The chain reached only as far as the bathroom across the hall. We were literal prisoners, willing prisoners, but
Yeah.
uh, it was a creative experiment. Back in 2016, we ended
Wow.
up in the Guinness Book of World Records for painting the world's largest Ouija board on the roof of the Grand Midway Hotel, and it's still there. You can look it up in Google Maps. Just zoom in. Um, People who see it are like, "Wow, you're going to conjure some pretty big demons with that Ouija board." Like, yeah, okay. Um, my introduction to the place was a dark one. It was a case. It was scary, but as with anything, it was a chrysalis that you come through it changed, and now my story is intertwined with the Midway, and hopefully, it's, a little bit of me. The Midway has a little bit of me in its DNA too.
So that's fascinating, and I have not been there, and I would love to be there, and I would love to go play on that Ouija board.
Yeah.
So why do you think, as a researcher and trying to see the science and the information history behind it, why do you think that place is so much more haunted than every other place you've been?
I think a lot of it comes down to intent. And the story of the Grand Midway and how I was introduced to it was, and this is, I mean, this is a 45-minute story alone, but the bullet points is the owner bought it on eBay for $11,000. It was just an abandoned place. It had history. The town of Windber itself was created by the Berwyn Mining Company to work the mines. And once the mining industry ebbed there, it was abandoned. They left. So, but the people have to survive. The owner opened it up as a kind of creative hostel or just a community where if you were a painter, a musician, an artist, you could come, you could stay there. It helped him with a rent. It helped him renovate the place. And there was a particular artist, a painter who came to live there. And his room was on the third floor. And he would experiment with different substances and try to expand his mind. And he would paint whatever he saw on these trips he went on. And eventually he
Mhm.
started painting the same figure over and over and over again, as if it was something familiar, as if it was something he knew. And
Wow.
eventually, this figure introduced itself to him and gave him its name. And as you know, names are power.
Yes.
So, okay, this is a big deal. Eventually, it became too much. He says, "All right, no, this is too deep, too dark." He destroyed most of his paintings. He left the Midway. He became a Jehovah's Witness and tried to turn his life around. Cut back to the hotel where, all right, he invited something in. Something is there. He could have left, but it's about territory. He's territory. The room is territory. If you give it permission to be there, it's going to go, thank you. What else? What's next? And when we got there for the first time, this was the situation. The painter's old room upstairs on the third floor had this entity there. And the adventure we had is chronicled on my YouTube channel for the episode Scared, the Grand Midway Hotel. I talk about it in my book. And it's just one of those stories that it really changed me. It opened my eyes to
Wow.
a lot of different things. And I know a lot of people who come to it now expect the same demonic energy in there because they're like, oh yeah, well it was there 15 years ago. It's got to still be there. No, it's
Mhm.
it's different. It's
Yeah.
changed. There's bad stuff everywhere, but this particular place, I think, I don't want to say it was there for us, but for me and my journey, it's one of those linchpin moments. Like there was no way for me to avoid that. One way or another, I was going to get to the Midway because it it
Wow.
it, it needed I needed to change me from skeptic to skeptic believer.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I have, I think, like you, demons get way too much credit. I think 99% of what people say is demonic. No, that's just a cranky old ghost. It's just a cranky. But my one place like that is the Cecil Hotel right here in Los Angeles.
Okay. I'll have to take you to the Grand Midway.
I would love it.
The year after we got into the Guinness Book of World Records, they uh, captured another record the following year for the world's largest tarot card
Wow.
on the ceiling of their dining room.
Wow.
It's a
So there.
creative hub. So, yes, there's scary things, but just the fact that there's so much creative energy there. The owner, Blair, he's always doing something interesting and cool. He would host Kerouac Fest and Dracula Con. And it's this little sleepy town in the mountains of Pennsylvania that you wouldn't expect this to be.
No.
He's also now the owner of Anne Rice's doll collection.
Wow. That excites me because I'm a doll girl. Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, and because artists bring it out. When you're artist, I mean, I teach this stuff in my mediumship classes and stuff. Yeah, if you're a spirit, whatever, that right brain of ours, that creative, the intuitive, spiritual artist, whatever you want to call it, is what's going to open this up. If you're a bunch of just left brain, complete left brain engineers, it would have been a different experience. It would have
Absolutely.
been a whole different experience. That is amazing.
And that's the thing. Every
Uh,
time I go back, it's almost like a different Brian that goes back. The first one that went there was the super skeptic. Scientists are going to prove we had an experience. I've been there for writer's jail. I've been there for the Ouija board. I've been there for different reasons. And sometimes I just go there to visit Blair, or I go to stay the night because I'm on my way to a lecture or event somewhere else, and I just want to check in with friends. And I think, despite the fact that investigating the paranormal is about search for answers, an exploration into the dead, it's very much a living social construct. We make our connections. I mean, you and I, the connection is pretty much the little airport up in Sioux,
Yes,
Michigan.
yes.
That's where we spend
In
most of our
Michigan.
time together.
Yes, I mean, I spent the whole night locked in the men's room with Johnny Zaffis and Tim Shaw and somebody
Oh,
else
that's
because
right.
that was
I
a tornado or
I heard
hurricane,
about that.
something spooky that we don't have here. It's like, what? A tornado, hurricane, what? Yeah. So that is our bonding stuff. That is
So
hysterical.
I've got a question for you, Patty. Like, okay, talking
Sure.
about events and things like that, how come we can't get an event like done out in LA? Why is California so hard to crack?
I don't know because we're expensive, but other places are expensive. There's some in New York. I think something should be done about that. Well, I've had this discussion before. I mean, you're going to have talent there and event places there and everything there to do it. I don't know. We'll have to brainstorm that. Maybe lock somebody in the Biltmore or something
People
and
are always asking, when you coming to California? I'm like, when I'm invited, when there's an
yeah,
event, when something actually gets roots.
gets
We
roots.
have to work on this. We got to get this together.
Okay, I will be a part of that committee that does that because anything that's gotten close to LA but it is in LA, Orange County, Anaheim, Disneyland. It's tiny. It didn't grow or take up, but it's meant to be tiny by somebody who wasn't really experienced in doing thing. My friend Stefan Brigatti does one in Ventura, again an hour or two up from LA, but it's at this cute little haunted, beautiful 1930s theater. But they're created a little visioned little thing, but LA should have the biggest one out there.
Should we just tell everyone it's a Disney event and trick them, and then they show up and like, surprise, it's a
Yeah,
paranormal event.
yeah. Yeah.
Fooled
Oh, just
you.
combine. Like everybody, like I'm doing Maine, which is paranormal and horror, and now I did Comic Con, which we brought a witchy aspect in, make it paranormal and Disney.
Yeah, not
Eh,
bad, not
all
bad.
right. Anyway, tell everybody what you have coming up, where they can find you, because you guys, honestly, he is one of the coolest, smartest, funniest, nicest guy in this thing we call don't call a field or an industry. You really are. You're the most
Well,
one of the
thank
most
you.
respected, well loved, legit faces of our thing. So like him, follow him, read his book, and where can people find you?
Oh, thank you, Patty. You can find me at my website, neverstopsearching.com, or you can join my Patreon, which is patreon.com/slash Brian J. Cano. And the special thing about that is it helps me get projects done from my History of the Paranormal exhibit to the video projects I work on. I have a bi weekly, well, sometimes mostly when I keep up with it, podcast of my own called Tuesday Night Bry. And the upper tier is special for those people, like we were just discussing before, who are really serious and want to get into the research. It's called the apprentice tier. And I train people in what they want to learn, be it parapsychology, ufology, ghost hunting 101, the tech. I craft a syllabus specifically for you. Think of it as a college course for one. And every month we have an hour call where we discuss and go over that topic. And I teach you everything I can, if I'm able, on that topic. And it's at will. So you might want to do 2 months of parapsychology, switch over to cryptozoology, and be like, now I want to do this. It's up to you. You choose your path.
Oh, that's beautiful. So again, where do they find that? Where do they find you? On your
That's
website?
patreon.com, Brian J. Cano, or neverstopsearching.com.
Okay. Well, this is wonderful. So I'll have you back again soon, and we'll be talking about the Los Angeles paranormal event
I'm
at
in.
Disneyland.
I'm in. Thank you,
All right.
Patty.
So, any last words for everybody out there who's hanging on your every word before we go?
Lots of words. I think I'm just gonna borrow from fellow New Yorker Billy Joel. Don't take any shit from anybody.
Thank you for bringing your magic to the witching hour.